We have a Jon Awbrey from the Crooked River Lions Club. First question, when and where did you join the Lions Club?
That's an interesting question. I was asked to join by Ted and Phyllis Carlin. I had been vision screening with Ted a couple times
Before you were a Lion?
before I was a Lion. And I hear everyone talk about, I joined the Lions and then I became a Lion.
Yep.
It's kind of the reverse with me. I became a Lion when we first did vision screening. I've been a lifelong educator. I taught high school. I coached in high school. I was a principal and a district administrator. And then if it went back to the teaching, I had the privilege in my educational career of opening 3 brand new schools. And when my wife was a school nurse and headed the school nurses in our district, and somehow Ted found that out. And so he glommed onto her to help with screenings and doing some hearing. And she came back from the first screening, and I think it was in Bend, and she was so hopped up, and I'm going, that sounds like fun. So I said, who? And she said, Ted Carlin, give him a call. And I called him and he said, sure, you can come, we're screening tomorrow. So I went and screened and I was hooked. He didn't even have to set the hook, I was hooked. I became a Lion that day in the sense that the service, the attitude of service and giving back to the community. Probably because of my educational career, I grew up in a very small town in Central California. I was a scout, I'm an Eagle Scout, and we learned service through scouting back in those days, all the way. So I guess I've been a Lion almost all my life in the sense of what Lionism is. I became a Lion, they asked me to join, and Cinda and I joined in, I believe it was 2016, and a year later I was the president of the club, and so that's where we started, and at Crooked River Ranch, and we moved up here from Central California. Cinda my wife grew up in Corvallis. I was a lifelong beaver. So when I came up here, I became a beaver. And there was only one choice. And I know when you come to Oregon, you're either a beaver or a duck. There's a couple of other ones, but you're either a beaver or a duck. Mm-hmm. And in her family, you were a beaver. So.
Well, I'm going to skip 2 because, we already know that answer. And number 3 was your trader profession. You said you were an educator. But now you actually work for the foundation as one of their screening coordinators.
That is correct. When Ted passed, Phyllis came to me and said, are you interested? And I had done every screening with Ted since I'd started and would travel with him. And so I got to know all of the schools, and if you've never vision screened, you need to volunteer and go out there. It will change your life. The stories, the kids, all that goes on with screening. The foundation asked me, and I said I would love to. So I'm the coordinator for Central Oregon. I cover Bend, Lapine, all the way over. I've been doing Jordan Valley. That's about 2 days away from where we live. and the Burns area and all of that. We do Warm Springs Reservation and all of the little bitty towns in Eastern Oregon. It's wonderful. It takes us 2.5 hours to get out to some of those towns and schools for 20, 30 kids. And you know what, it's worth it. To see a kid 1 year fail a test, a vision screening, and then come and get the help they need and come back the next year, and that kid comes in with glasses on and passes the test. And to have the teachers come in and go, this one's a handful, and you screen them and they don't pass the test, and they have, most of the time they have vision problems. Once they get that help, they become stars at the school. So we know that learning, 70% to 80% of learning is visual. If you can't see, you can't do anything.
Can't do the work. What offices have you held and what awards have you received in the Lions?
That's interesting. Well, I've been president. Local, I've been, and locally in the local club, I've been president. I've been in charge of our med shed. We have a lot of medical equipment, walkers and canes and that kind of stuff.
For the community.
For the community, and my number would go in the post, and so whoever's in charge gets the call. Hey, so-and-so fell, we need a walker, or we need cane, or we need crutches, and we get those and provide them for the community until they don't need them anymore, and they bring them back and we clean them up, and we have a little shed that we put them all in. It's called the med shed. So I was in charge of that. District-wide, I've been the names of these things all. I've been the what's it called, the district coordinator,
Like zone chair?
I've been zone chair, yes, thank you. So
And you serve on the foundation board as a trustee?
I serve, no,
Oh, you're not?
no, my wife is on the foundation board. She's actually the secretary.
That's right.
Being a member of Old Chef's team, it would be a kind of a conflict of interest for me to serve on the board. So I don't serve on the board, but I am a member of the patient care committee.
Oh.
And that committee is so important. With the Lions are able to help so many people that are impoverished. When we go through the forms to help someone, and it never ceases to amaze me how little financially people have to work with. But if they need vision care, if they've got cataracts, all kinds of different vision care, that committee is able to help.
Nice. To the younger members new to Lionism, what words of wisdom would you like to pass to them?
Come on out. It'll change your life.
And how would you like to be remembered?
As someone who cares, sometimes I get over emotional. Well, not over emotional. I become emotional. I wear my emotions. I wear on my sleeve. I'm sorry. Last night I had the privilege of introducing Phyllis Carlin as the latest onto the Old Chef's board,
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, and I thought I could hold it together, but I couldn't.
You did good job.
Fortunately, Cinda's more, she's better at that than I am. She can hold it together. Phyllis and Ted had been such a big part of our lives here in Central Oregon. He was my golfing buddy, and they are my mentors, our mentors for Lions. And so it's been,
A trip.
yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, I like those boots, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One.
All right.
Oh, sorry.